Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the Learning Python series that we are doing. Where we left off, I told you guys that we would explore Boolean a lot more and get more in depth with some a little bit deeper concepts, and that is definitely what we are doing. Now, last time we ran a program and it ran once and it quit. That's not what you want to happen a lot of the time. You want to keep going until the user says, hey, I'm done, I want to leave, bye. So we're gonna jump in to see exactly how we can do that. So we are going to go and we're going to we'll remove this line of code because we don't need that. We'll leave that there, and we'll comment out everything up top real quick, and then we can get, and we'll leave this Boolean because we will need the Boolean. Alright, but we're going to rename Boolean to keep going. Alright, so the way you keep an application running through over and over again is with a loop. Now, in other languages such as Java or C#, there are 4 different types of loops. There is a do-while loop, a for loop, a for each loop, and a while loop. Python, just like when it came to the primitive types, cut down on those. We have the for loop, although it acts more like a for each loop than a for loop, and the while loop. So, what we are going to be using is a while loop. And the way the while loop works is we have while, then in parent we have keep going. And as long as and this again told me I don't need the parentheses. So, while keep going equals true, it's implicit, but effectively what I'm saying is while keep going equals true. And we will explore this a little bit deeper in just a few minutes. But while keep going is true, we're going to just keep looping. That's perfect. So this means we're going to remove this real quick. Okay, typo, who cares? And so we're going to run this. Enter your age. I'm 20. You're booger. You are. Okay, we're going to come back here and clean this up real quick. Wow, that's embarrassing. Alright. 20. Psych, I'm 45 now. I'm 36. 15. 21. Now, because I'm going to keep looping, it's never going to actually stop, because keep going is never going to evaluate to false. And while it does not evaluate to false, it's just going to keep looping until the ends of the earth. So, the way you break out of this is simply go into the console and hit Control-C. That doesn't do it anymore. Control F2. Every other language it's Control-C. Apparently Control F2 does it, or you just hit the stop button and it stops, and you get a exit code of -1 because you force quit it instead of letting it fail gracefully. So, because this never changes, we need a way to figure out when it can change. And the way we're going to do this is with a if statement. So, what we are going to do is once we get that value, we are going to do an int input prompt. Would you like to keep going? Question mark. Why, comma, no. Super simple. Alright, so now that we have, now we need to set it. End equals. Cool. So now we do an if. Okay. End equals. We're gonna do quotations a y with followed by a colon. Then keep going. Set it to false. Else. And I will explain into more detail of what I'm exactly doing, so then you guys know. Else, I don't need an else. Actually, we're just going to remove this because it isn't necessary. And now here, what we're going to do is we are going to run a print. Have a good day. We're going to go ahead and run this and test it. Enter your age. I am 20. You are 20 years old. Would you like to keep going? This already isn't going to work right. This needs to be an N. Enter your age. 20. Would you like to keep going? Yes. That's fine. I don't need an int there at that point. Man, I'm just messing up all over the place right now. You guys are probably all screaming at me like, what are you doing? Would you like to keep going? Yes. Please enter your age. 23. You are 23 years old. Would you like to keep going? No. And have a good day. So, now the explanation. So, the way if statements work are depending on the operands you use in here. And so we're going to take this and we're going to cut it and we're going to bring it down here and we're going to paste. Okay? So if statement operands. Okay, I misspelled that. Operands. So the operands go less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to, less than equal to, and greater than or equal to. And then there's a couple other things for inside of this statements we will get to. So obviously, when we are comparing numbers, we have greater than and less than numbers. Equal to works to evaluate if strings are the same, if booleans are set a certain way, numbers, all sorts of things. And then greater than, less than are pretty much always for numbers. So the way it works, when it first sees this if statement, it goes, okay, if end, which is this variable right here, equals to this, then we are going to come into this colon and execute whatever code is underneath it. Now, if I had more, if I wanted to do this a different way, instead of having to print out here, I could do an else statement. And the way the else statement would work is if this does not evaluate to true, in fact it evaluates to false, it would then fall straight to the else statement and this would automatically activate and it would print have a good day, which that is not what that would say right there. This would actually say sweet, let's keep playing. Alright, now there's a few other ways that if statements work. Let's say you could have two things that could be true. Obviously this isn't going to work, so we're going to go ahead and comment out all of this. So we are going to have a language 1 equals English, alright, and language 2 equals Russian. So now we're gonna have an if statement. So if language 1 equals English, then print you know English. So proud of you. Cool. But now there's two ways we could go about this. There's what is called an else if statement, or an elif, and we can have another thing where it says language 2 equals Russian, then print you know Russian. Now both these are true. Only one of them is going to evaluate to true, and it's this first one. So with an else if statement, if this guy evaluates to true, it runs this code and then breaks and runs through to see if there's another just regular if statement, which we will get to in just a sec. But if all it sees is an elif or else if, or excuse me, an else, it just skips past all of them and doesn't worry about them. But since both of these are true, I need a way to have both of them work. So, and just to show that what I'm saying is true, right? You know English, even though we know language 2 is set to Russian. If I remove this EL, and it's just a second if statement, and we run it, both of them go through. If you have two if statements, both of them can be true, and both sets of code will work inside of it. Now, if I had an else here at the end, if I could spell, else print you know your first language is not English and your second language is not Russian. Now, here's where things get fun. What if I switched these two and this became language 2 and this became language 1? Now you should obviously the else would activate. Well, I don't like that. I don't like that. I know those languages, but maybe I'm from Russia and I know Russian first and English is my second language. So this isn't very good. There's two operands that I did not mention that help in the if statements. You have we'll do it up here. You have the and or operands. So if language 1 equals English, or language 1 equals or language 2 equals. That's actually what I should do. Or language 1 equals Russian. Oops. and we run this, both of these evaluate to true, and both of them work perfectly fine. Awesome. Now, the way these ORs work, okay, is if this one works, if this one evaluates to what is said here, it won't even check this half, and it'll just go straight into the block of code. If it fails, it will then move over to this side, and if that then evaluates to true, it will activate. Now, if I have the AND operand, so we are going to remove this guy. And language 2, so we're going to put this one, Russian. So as you can see, if one of these evaluates to false, this side or this side, it will not run this code and it will go into here. So if we run it, both of them evaluate to true, we're all good. Now, if I turn these around, if we turn these around, right, and we run it, they do not evaluate to true, and they break into the else statement, and it runs. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can use this. As well as if you wanted to, I'm trying to think of how, okay, so if language 1 equals English, right? So we're going to set this to this. And we're going to return this to language 2. Instead of having a print, we're going to have a nested if statement. If language 2 equals French, then we are going to print you know French, which actually English and French, right? And then we're going to have an elif language 2 equals Russian, then print you know English and English and Russian. Then we're gonna have an else that just says print, what am I doing? Print you know English. Cool. Now, down here in this else statement, which is not cut, we are going to say print you do not know English. Awesome. So, if the way this works is these three are connected, okay? So if this one evaluates to true, this first one evaluates to true, this will execute and it'll skip past all of these. And then if it doesn't, it'll go down to here. If this one doesn't work, it'll end up in the else. Now, these three will only be evaluated if this one evaluates to true. Meaning, if I don't know English and I know Spanish, right? And I run this, it'll go down here and I do know English. Wow. I don't know if I know English. So, now what I should do is I should say, or language 2 equals English to cover all my bases. Because if I know Spanish and English, then I know English. But I don't know these two. So, with that, this is the way Booleans can affect things, because remember, Booleans are true-false. If-else statements are true-false. Alright? So, coming up here, because I want to show off the not equals. So, coming up here, I want to show off the not equals. So, we are going to hit a bang. If it's not n, we're going to remove this really quick. Alright? And we're going to take this and post it up here, and down here in this else, we're gonna say keep going equals false. And I just broke something. Oh, I know what it is. It's gotta be capitalized. What? Okay. Yep. So, and now if we run this, enter your age. So if I hit 20, and would you like to keep going, I hit J, and that's not even an option, but we're not going to worry about that, because we'll work on that next episode. Should be next episode, or the episode after. Would you like to keep going? I'm going to say no. Yeah, I don't say bye, so it exits out, and it goes down here, and it tells me, hey, you don't know English. So, now, I showed you while loops, and I showed you if-else statements. For loops are very special in Python. They require a certain data structure called an array or a list, which is just a collection of not variables, but a collection of types. So like I could have a collection of ints or strings or floats or booleans, but I cannot think of a way that this would all be necessary, that this would be necessary, or a for loop would be necessary. So I'm going to show you how to construct one really quick. So for I in language 2 print I. Okay, so what this is about to do, because this is going to trip you out. For those of you who have not, who are brand new to coding, this is going to trip you out, okay? And it's going to rattle some minds, so just hang with me, okay? But we are going to come down here as well, because I do not want any of this going off. Okay, so this, what I'm about to do right here is going to hurt some brains, and I will explain what is going on very briefly. So as you can see, for I in language 2, which is our variable up here, which is holding this string, print I, and it printed each individual character on its own line. A string is effectively an array, which is a collection of characters. So it holds a bunch of individual characters inside of it. And so what I am doing in this for loop is I'm setting I, as it's going through, to the next character in language 2 and printing it out, and going back around, getting the next one and printing it out until the end, and then it's done. Alright, and so with that, I'm going to end it here. Look for a new video coming out tomorrow or Sunday. There we will discuss more about arrays and lists and how to manipulate them, as well as talking about functions. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will talk to you guys all later. Peace.